I'm Vivek. Welcome to the AI and Era podcast. Before we deep dive into this podcast, let me set whole event. Today, our guest is not only stepping to the story, but he is rewriting how he told. He is an award-winning executive producer, TEDx speaker, and creative visionary leader in the big companies like Walt Disney, Universal Studios, and Electronic Arts Sports. So, which ideas has rippled across the industries? So let him in. Side of our podcast, Mr. Paul Osterhout. If you want to see our podcast without skipping, this is for you for educational purpose, learning purpose, and creative purpose. Thank you so much. Let's start to the podcast and
Good
keep
morning, sir.
watching.
Here is our Paul Osterhout. Today is in our podcast show. Paul Osterhout. We are very honored to that. He is an award-winning creative and TEDx speaker. He has an enormous skills like a leadership skills, every kind of management skills, and also they are having experiences with the vice president, executive producers, vice executive producers, vice president at the big companies like Walt Disney, Universal Studios, and he's also a owner of Osterhout is Osterhout company. So now he's a founder also. So it's our pleasure that he's here, and it's our luck that he's here and represent to our show. Thank you so much, Paul sir. Welcome to my show.
Well, thank you so much, and good morning to you as well, even though I know it's not morning where you are. It's very exciting to be speaking to you today about being a creative leader, being maybe what a producer does, and and maybe really understanding what we deliver and what we do day to day. And I'm happy to share my experiences with you. Um, a little bit about me, if you would like. I started in this industry as a sculptor, somebody that made things with my hands. And I became pretty good at it. And then my professional career really started at Walt Disney Company. And the career path at Walt Disney for what I did, if you start in building the model shop, because we work with a lot of architects and designers, and everybody wants to see things in 3 dimension before we build it. Now, this is, of course, going back way before we could build it in computers. We had to build it practically. So that's where I started this industry, and eventually I became very proficient, and I got promoted to an art director, and then to a production designer, and then eventually to a producer. And now in the world where I come from, the producer is in charge of the creative vision. And so it's a little different in film, in that the producer is not necessarily in charge of the creative division. Sometimes it's the director in a film, but they are partners either way. A producer and a director are partners, and it doesn't really matter that much who is in charge of the creative vision, as long as the producers and the directors agree. This is the emotional roller coaster we want to take the audience on. And so I've been doing this now for 40 years. I've been a producer for 25 of those years, and I've had the opportunity to live all over the world doing these big projects, including India. I lived in Mumbai for about 1 year working on Ad Labs Magica project, and it was really a great experience to be there and to learn about Indian culture and food and how professional people work day to day there. So that was really exciting. So I'm really excited to be speaking with you today about being a producer, being a creative director, or anything else you want to talk about.
Wow, sir. It's a nice thing, sir. I just like you came here to India and do for us something in the Walt Disney. There's a magical things always around. So uh, the peoples are asking about the Walt Disney. How like the Walt Disney are giving us magic, and peoples are so much crazy enough towards the Walt Disney and their characters, their creative things. How the Walt Disney are going enormously because they never stop. The Walt Disney never stop.
Mhm,
How
mhm.
they think that creatively? Is
So
there any secret or is there anything? Yeah.
So I think, well, there's not, I don't think there's a secret, but I think you hire really good storytellers. At Walt Disney Company, nothing happens until you have a story, something that connects emotionally with an audience. So it doesn't matter if it's going to be a film, a television show, a Broadway stage performance, or a theme park attraction. You have to start with a really good story, that grabs the emotion of an audience and takes the audience on this journey. Because that's really, whether it's a film or a theme park attraction, they're both journeys. They're both emotional journeys. Now, the film may be 90 minutes to 2 hours long. The theme park attraction may be 3 minutes long. So you see, there's a different kind of storytelling that has to happen because you have to be very, very quick in the theme park. You have to really get to the important points. But they're both they're both story-driven things. And so that's the start. So to get to answer your question, you have to hire really good storytellers. You have to hire directors and producers that know how to focus the story, how to work as editors and merely help the writers get to the heart of the story. And then, so that's the main part of it. And now the second part of it is you have to execute that story. You have to have really good artists, you have to have really good designers, you have to have, if you're doing a film, you have to have a really good production team. And if you're doing a theme park, you have to have a really good uh, team that can build dimensional things. But everything always starts with the great story.
Like uh, the Walt Disney taking hiring a lot of storyteller. What kind of basically how you recruit to the people who is a best storyteller? What kind of emotion they you see from them? He is a very good discover of power of emotion crafting, and their every you can count their every frame. Is there any good thing or is a bad thing? We should hire them or should not hire them because is a the people is very huge. The competition is very huge. So how you hiring? How is the recruitment process over it?
Mhm. That's a great question. So when I look to hire a writer or a storyteller or a designer, I want somebody that's well read, perhaps well traveled, um, because I want somebody that understands that the world is a bit smaller than we think in our own orbit. And people that are well read, or people that study art history and people who study literature, I find them to be better storytellers because they understand the story structure. But more than that, they understand different ways to tell stories. Um, let's say you're going to be a theme park designer. You wanted to work in the theme parks, right? So you come into your office today, and I may say, I need a great story about Siva, the gods of India. I need a great story to tell a story, and I need you to be able to tell it in like 5 minutes. Okay, might be easy for you because that's your culture and that's what you know. But if you come into the office tomorrow and I say to you, I need a story about cowboys and Indians from the Old West in America. unless you're well read and understand literature and understand history of the world, it's going to be very difficult for you, right?
Yeah.
So the more well read, the more you understand the history of the world, the more you understand different cultures, then you're going to be a much more proficient story writer.
Okay. Um, so uh, my it's a great point, sir. Thank you so much for sharing this. Like we should know about the history and about know about the culture, so we can be a very good storyteller, and our story is brightening everybody's mind.
Yeah.
So my next question is, yes, I appreciate. How do engineering emotion in a scene without audience notice?
How do you engineer emotion in a scene
Without the audience
without the
notice?
audience noticing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have to, if you think about film, uh, you're focused, the audience is focused right here at the screen. So
Yes.
controlling the audience focus, not so difficult. Now, if you're in a theme park, the audience can look everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can be everywhere.
Mm,
So what we try to do is when we talk about like a ride system, we're putting guests on a ride. We try to focus that ride each scene one at a time, and we don't try to tell too complicated a story because you won't pick up the pieces of that. Um, Especially at a theme park, you have uh, lots of people talking, children crying, maybe different, all these different things are attacking your senses. So it's much harder to focus in a theme park on an attraction. So what we do is we control the pace, we control the pause. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to put you in a haunted house, a scary house, right? I wouldn't have scare, 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 scare. I would do a scare, and then I would have a breather, and then another scare, and another. So you control the emotional pacing is one of the things we do. Okay.
yeah.
We also have an empathy for guests' needs. Guests need to have breathing spaces. They need to have quiet spaces. They need to have exciting spaces. So we have to look at how that's all paced out. We can't just have excitement, 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 because that you'll tire the guest out. Emotionally, they will get tired. Um, we also look at the emotional range across a project. Do we have laughter? Do we have empathy? Do we have sadness? And so we want to control those emotions. At the end of it, a theme park should be an uplifting experience, as opposed to a movie, which may not have a happy ending all the time, right? Or a TV show might not have a happy ending all the time. A theme park should always have a happy ending. You should always want to have the guests feeling better about doing this experience, right? So we look at the emotional arc of telling a story in a theme park.
Yeah.
Um, and then we look at visual cues. We like things when we want you to focus on it. We have controlled audio from, so like if we had a bunch of characters in a scene, the audio will be localized to whoever's talking, which just forces you to see them. And it helps to maintain the focus of the audience with all of these distractions going on. So we do a lot of those kinds of tricks. Um, we like to build anticipation. So, like if you're in a queue line or in a line to get into an attraction, we want to build that anticipation, right? We want to get you excited about going in because we know the core experience is only going to be a couple minutes long, right? So if you're standing in line for half an hour for a 2 or 3 minute experience, you won't be as satisfied. So in the queue, we want to build that anticipation, we want to build up that emotion. And then at the end of it, we want to like kind of bring you down slowly. So we don't just have a jarring moment. Um, so those are a lot of the things we do. We use lots of things like texture and color, and we use different props and scenery to set the place and time of a scene. So there's a lot of those things. I want to go back a little bit about the question you asked before. I recently just did a job in China, and
Yeah.
client wanted Chinese stories. Now, I don't. I was living in China at the time, but to understand the Chinese audience, to understand the Chinese culture, and how they resonate with their own stories, it was impossible for me to learn that very quickly. So I was able to hire some Chinese writers that lived in China,
Yeah.
and then they could tell me what was important about each story and why those stories resonated with the Chinese people. And so then I could help those writers to craft a theme park version of some of those stories. Because again, if you think about Journey to the West, which is the very famous set of stories in China, it could take you months to tell that entire story, right? But you've got just a few minutes. So knowing that what the heart of and what the really emotional attachments of those stories were important for me to understand, and so that's kind of how I attached that problem.
Yes, sir, I appreciate like everything which is be creative. The people behind that, the people's hand is very big because peoples are creative. That's why that's why the audiences are happy with the visionary things. Yes, I totally agree about it. And the engineering emotion you are telling the whole things. Uh, Really, it's listened to very easy, but those who are making all these things, those who are arrange all these things, they are really working hard. And I also agree and appreciate with all of your cast members, team organizers, and with you. I'm so much glad that you are all very good thinker, good visionary leaders. You are making all those things. Thank you so much for that. And you are working on Walt Disney and also working on Universal Studios, right?
Mhm, yes.
So basically, what is the difference between the Walt Disney storytelling and the storytelling of Universal Studios? Walt Studios, like Walt Disney Studios, like giving us a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Mickey Mouse, every kind of cartoons are there. I'm a so much big fan of them, and every child who is in India and who is in America also, they are also big fan of the Mickey Mouse and Universal Studios because they are giving like movies like Jurassic Park, and recently the
Yeah.
release of Jurassic Park World Rebirth also in the July 2 and July 4 on India and July 2 in the US.
Yeah.
And I'm so much big fan of the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park also 1993. Um, what is the difference between the
hmm
storytelling and
hmm
how you vision that the Walt Disney is vision like this, and what how the Universal Studios vision like this?
hmm Yeah, good question. So if you asked me this question 30 years ago, I could tell you very distinct differences. So Walt Disney tells family-driven stories, often skewed to a younger audience. Um, you didn't have too many thrill rides at Disney. You had some, but not overpowering thrill rides. You had some. Where at Universal, it was about the thrill, the excitement of the films, right? Jurassic Park, The Incredible Hulk, The Mummy, all
Yeah,
these very exciting stories. And
yeah.
Jaws, um, King Kong.
King
So
Kong. Yeah,
that was like 30 years ago. It was very distinct, right?
yeah,
Now, both are starting to blend. Um, 30 years ago, Universal did not do immersive uh, storytelling. You went in, you did a ride, you did an experience, and you got out. About 10, 15 years ago, Universal did the Harry Potter land, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is an extremely immersive experience. You are in that film. You are in Hogsworth. You're there. And so now Universal is starting to blend more into what Disney has done always, which was be very immersive. At the same time, Disney has now started to do more thrilling attractions. Um, Now, most. a lot of the stuff that they've done lately has been about a thrill, like a Tower of Terror or a test track or really fast roller coasters. So
Yes.
now you see both companies kind of going into this middle where they're doing similar things. So as storytellers, they're getting closer together. Now the personalities of the companies is still quite different. Disney is more, let's work together, let's kind of, we'll do a lot of stuff in-house, we'll hire the talent and we'll do a lot of that work inside our own company. Universal, a little different. They hire some very talented engineers and storytellers and artists to create the the basic idea, and then they may hand that out to smaller companies to create the drawings or to
Okay.
create what is there. Now, with that said, both of those companies now are starting to merge again because now Disney is starting to send more stuff out and Universal is starting to try and keep more stuff in. So it's really, in the past 30 years, the companies have started to become very similar. Whereas 30 years ago, they were quite different personalities, and now
Yes.
they're very close together. Even though there's still some great differences. Universal still thinks a lot like a movie company, a film company, where you hire people in and when the project's over, they go away. Disney does that still, but the Disney, I think, tries to hold on to people a little bit longer. But again, it's difficult now to look at both companies and say what the real differences are because they are very similar now.
Wow. Yes. This really it's a huge difference, but now it is very collaborative things we got from the Universal Studios and Walt Disney. um, and you are also a executive director and vice president also. Basically, what is the roles of the directors inside of a film? How you vision that the storytelling, like if you are in a movie and this is a horror on list, and how you vision that is we should make a horror story, but we can take this actors, and so that we can take to the market in a huge manner. So how is your role, how you define your role in this position?
Yeah. So what we typically do is we talk to the audiences, we talk to the guests who come in, and we kind of ask them what they feel they're missing or what they would like to see. And then so we start with that, and then first of all, it never works exactly the same way all the time. Sometimes a great story will come along and we'll say, "Oh my God, this will make a great film or this will make a great theme park attraction." So you have to keep your eyes open for that, right? But sometimes
Yes.
you do some audience testing and you ask what they'd like to see, and then you kind of like sit back. Now in the theme park world, typically what will happen is a movie will come out. This works for both Universal and Disney. A movie will come out and it'll be very popular. And Disney and Universal, they both want this property, the story to live on for years, 20, 30 years. They want the story to live on. In a film, the film comes out for a couple of months and then it maybe goes away and then maybe you'll see it on a streaming service or a television, right? But in the theme parks, this film can live forever because you're gonna build something that's gonna last forever. So a lot of times we'll get a hit movie and we'll know, well, this will make a great theme park attraction. So as executives, as creative directors, what we need to do is we need to go into that property and we say, what is important about this property? Remember, we got to tell the story like in 2 or 3 minutes, right? We got to take a 2 hour film and figure out what the 2 or 3 minutes is going to be. Do we do a book report? In other words, do we tell that story again, but tell it in 3 minutes? Or do we take one of the most popular scenes from that film and set it up and just redo that? Or do we take the IP and do we take it and branch off, kind of like what they did at Disney on Star Wars. They created,
Yeah,
they took that IP, but they created their own mythology based on the characters that were created in the Star Wars universe. So it can work anyway. Now, what happens as an executive producer, creative director, is we look and we try and figure out what's going to hit with audiences. What are they going to respond to? What is going to be the audience expectation, right? So if you say, come to Universal and see the new Jurassic Park roller coaster or ride, what is the expectation the audience is going? What are they expecting? So you have to look at that, and you want to make sure you deliver on that expectation.
yeah,
So now as creative directors, we got great story. We got to figure out how to tell it very quickly, and we know what the audience expectation is. And now as the creative leader, you have to drive that vision for 3 or 4 years, because these things take like 3 or 4 years to do. So every person that gets on the project to help create this project, you have to make sure that they understand what's the vision. What do we expect when we open the door? What do we expect when we let people experience this? What is that vision? So as the executive producer or the creative director, you have to make sure everybody understands that vision. You have to make sure everybody is pulling this rope in the same direction. And we don't want to get off this vision, because we know what we want to do. Now, as a creative director or an executive producer, you have to leave room for, maybe there's a little bit of a better idea if we don't get off the vision too much, or maybe there's a better way to tell the story. You have to be open for that, because there are going to be many ways to tell a story. And so you have to be open to listening to different ideas, and if they don't follow what ultimately your vision is, then you have to say, oh, that's a great idea, next time we'll do something different, but right now we're going to stay on this path. And you have to balance
appreciate
that.
more.
And then you have to balance that, of course, with budget and schedule. So yeah, you may be halfway down the road on this, delivering this vision, and someone has an idea that may be a little bit better. But if you say that puts us behind 3 months, it's going to cost extra money. Sometimes you have to make that hard decision where we can't do it. We can't afford it. We can't miss opening day. And so you have to make those hard decisions about, let's try and stay on track.
Appreciate, sir. I appreciate all your questions with the point. So you are doing a very good pinpoints are there, like theme park, vision, idea, execution, and the whole architectural thing. How we make to the people very much happy with the places, with the cinematic world, and everything, with the joyful things. Thank you so much. Everything in this. So my next question is also is here, like what moments from your career taught you that the most about impact?
Yeah, I have a really good story on that. I I was speaking in Europe. I went to a conference, and I spoke at this conference, and I came back, uh, a flight through Manchester, England. It was an overnight flight, a red eye flight back
Yeah.
to Florida. And so this flight left Manchester maybe 11 p.m. and got
Mhm.
to Orlando maybe 7 in the morning. I don't remember. But I'm in the airport in Manchester, and it was all of these children with their parents, and the children were excited and running around the terminal. And it occurred to me that, oh, they're going to Orlando to see Harry Potter, Mickey Mouse, SeaWorld, Legoland. They were going to do this trip because they were running around and talking about Mickey Mouse and Harry Potter and Minions, and talking about all these. They're very excited children. And it occurred to me that these parents of these children were taking their children on the same journey that their parents took them on 20 years ago. And so there's this cycle of families and parents are, and it occurred to me that what we really do as designers, as theme park operators and designers and engineers, is we create memories. It's what we do. These families, these parents were taking their children to Orlando, to Disney World, to Universal to create memories for their children to have with their parents, just like these parents had with their parents. And it, it's clear to all of us in the theme park industry, it's very expensive to go to a theme park, especially if you're traveling from the UK or traveling from anywhere. It's expensive to go. And this may be this family's trip of their lifetime, you know? It's thousands of dollars, thousands of pounds, it could be. And so it became very uh, impactful to me that what we really do is we enable people to have memories. And if we do it right, the memories are going to be joyful,
Yeah.
communal, lasting.
Mhm.
So that's the impact.
Wow. So I just appreciate with you all those things. Wow. Like impact in our life through this to understand everyone's mind and their feelings. Like our parents also attach with us with our emotions and our dreams, our creativity also attach with the things which is makes happy to us and makes happy to the society. And for that being, we are doing really good vision. We should have a really good vision to do for our society. And I really appreciate with your all the answers and pinpoints of about it, and your careers all really be inspired for me and for all of us also. Your experiences and your thoughts, these are all the very good things there. So my next question is, how do you maintain creative energy across years of projects?
I think you have to be excited about what you're doing. You have to be excited about, uh, you know, like when I'm on a project, right? I am so excited. I cannot wait till the guests experience this, right? And again, some of these projects can take 3 years. Some of them, if you're doing a full park, can take 5 years from the first initial idea till the guests, paying guests, actually get to see it. So it is difficult to maintain that level of enthusiasm for that long unless you're really excited about what you're doing, right? And it is difficult because there are parts or there are times what I call the doldrums. Like you're very excited when you're creating the idea. You're doing the blue sky work, you're developing it, you're like, oh, we could do that, oh, we could do this, we could do this. It's exciting and everybody's really excited about it because they see the possibilities. When that's done, now you go into a phase of the engineering, getting everything on paper, writing the specifications, choosing colors, choosing textures, choosing furniture, choosing carpet, whatever it is. That part can be a little, what I call the doldrums, a little bit of now this is like work, you know. But then you know that pretty soon you're going to get into the field where the park is being built or your project is being built. And to me, that is the most exciting part. So you're in the doldrums, but you know the most exciting part is still in front of you. And that is building it, actually seeing the pieces that and parts that people are going to pay to see. The recording of the music, the actors' performances, the scenery, the props, the color, the signage, the graphics, everything now starts to come together. And that is the most exciting part, you know? When you're out
Yeah,
there and they're getting ready to pour a bunch of concrete that's going to be there forever. And that's kind of exciting. And but this is not the most exciting part yet. The most exciting part now is opening day when people come in and you get to see their experiences for the first time. So, so you think about the project in phases. Initial idea is exciting. We develop the idea, still exciting. Oh, now we have to document the idea. Okay, well, we know the next phase is going to be awesome. So that's just how I think about it.
Yeah, like it little bit sorry, it little bit giving a scary moments when you are going for when you see that your result is here, and after so much hard work of developing architectural theme parks announcement, and the people wants to experience your whole project. Actually, I want to say that like Universal Studios and Disney never never set a project, like they set up emotion, they set emotion, creativity and magic, so the people are so much enjoy and get more happier with
Yeah,
your whole of your project.
yeah.
And yeah, so um and so the Walt Disney is nowadays so much very strict, like to get to someone to hire, very
Mm.
strict, because they want all should be in all should be in senior level, they should be senior executive, they should senior software developer, they should they should senior executive engineer, or senior engineer in every field. They want the senior. Why this is happening? Because everyone's nowadays freshers are wants their jobs, so they always hiring to the seniors. Why?
So, so that's an easy answer. They can because they can. Everybody wants to work for Disney. Everybody wants to be an Imagineer. Um,
Yeah.
so it's they can hire senior people because they want to do the best and they don't want to have to train people. Now, what I would say to anybody, software engineer, an artist, or anybody who wants to get into Disney, make Disney a destination. Work at other companies and get promoted and get recognized at other companies. And then when those opportunities at Disney show themselves, then you are a senior, whatever they're looking for, because you have the experience, right? That's the secret is don't get out of school and graduate and get depressed or wonder why Disney's not hiring me. I'm very good. I'm a great software engineer. I'm a great artist, whatever. And you may be, but they don't know that. They don't know you. So, get get a job where you can really show off your skills. Um, we say here, and maybe a saying in India as well. Um, you want to be a big fish in a little pond, right? So
Yeah, right. Yes.
get into a smaller company or a company where you get to shine, and there
Yes.
and you can be a leader. They're looking for leadership in that company.
Yes.
Then,
Hmm.
when the timing is right and you've done everything in that company, and when Disney starts looking for people, hello, I have done exactly what you've done. I've done it in a leadership position. I've led
Yeah.
teams. I've led a big group of people. I've managed
Yes.
these budgets. Now that gives you a leg up on any competition that you may have. So that's my advice. Try not to get frustrated if Disney doesn't hire you right out of school or if you're a junior person.
Yeah.
Disney, because everybody wants to work for Disney, they can be much more selective. And the other thing too is a lot of these jobs, especially at Disney or Universal, are by word of mouth. A lot of times they're not posted. So if you're working in another company in a similar industry, let's say you want to work in the
Yes.
theme park industry and you're working for a smaller company, um, you will network just because of the way this industry is set up. You will network with Disney people, you will network with Universal people just because
Yes.
of the way the industry is set up. They will get to know you and they will
Yeah.
go, oh, well, you know what we need? We need a person just like Vivek. And they go like, well, why don't we just get Vivek? Right?
Yeah.
And so that's how a lot of these jobs will happen is people will know somebody and they will know this person can do the job, hire that person. And so that's the other advantage too of working in a smaller company in the same industry is there's all this networking that you can do.
Wow, sir, I appreciate whole answers. And after that, our all people wrecking a right answer why they are not hiring by the Walt Disney, why they're frustrated most of the time, why the Walt Disney always wants the senior level engineers, they want senior level producers, they want senior level directors. Why not freshers? So mostly this is the best answer for him, for them, for me also. So we should go for a small, from start from the small, signing our skills, so the destination will come better, like
Yeah,
Walt Disney and Universal.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now that
Yeah.
with that said, sometimes Disney does hire interns and that, but that's not really the going to be the best way to get in. The best way to get in,
Yes.
get into a small company, prove that you know how to do the job, that you're a smart person, you're an innovative thinker, you can lead people. And the other thing about Disney is the budgets at Disney are much um, larger. The stress and the focus is much larger. So if you can show that you can handle budgets and you can handle schedules at your
Yeah.
company, it's just going to give you a better opportunity to get into a company like Disney or Universal.
Yeah. Appreciate with you. uh, Okay, so I appreciate all the answers. So basically, the Universal Studios and Walt Disney, how they're hiring the voice artist and the actors, actress, what the recruitment process for them. Like everyone is going for the actor and actress or hero and heroine in the Walt Disney and Universal Studio. Everybody wants to, but few of them are selected, but most of them are rejected. What is the real thing behind of the behind of this?
Well, remember, if we're trying to retell the story of a film, then our first choice, both Universal or Disney, our first choice is to get the original actor
Okay.
or voice person. That's our first choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times they're not available or they're not interested in doing it. So at Disney, there is a voice casting team that will go for sound alikes. So somebody that sounds
Yeah.
like a famous actor. A lot of times, the famous actor will have an approved sound alike. They will have already approved this person can do my voice, this person can do my whatever. So that will might be already arranged as well. Um,
Yeah.
so that's the first choice. You have to if you're working in Hollywood or here in the States, most of the time they'll want to use a union, people in the union, and I'm not really sure exactly maybe SAG, AFTRA, the motion picture unions, actor unions
Yeah.
here in the States. Um, so that's for like voice talent if you're going to be on film or recorded. For actors that are in on a stage performance in a theme park, they do auditions all the time. They go around the world auditioning dancers, uh, actors, singers, and so just go online to Disney Creative, and I'm not sure exactly where it is. Disney Creative, it could be Universal Studios Creative Entertainment, and look for, they will post there's the audition, and a lot of times they will post what they're auditioning for. Um, you know, Men 5'6" to 6 feet, able to work outside the country, can dance, can sing, whatever they want to. By the way, they're looking for people that can do lots of things because
Yeah.
you may be in a parade in the morning, but in the afternoon you may be in a stage show. A lot of times too, they're looking for stuntmen. They're people that can do stunts. A lot of times they're looking for musicians. You just have to go to wherever they're wherever they're advertising their auditions and see what they're looking for and see where they're going to be doing the auditions. Um, and I bet you they do it at least once or twice a year. They do these auditions, and you may if you get hired as a dancer or singer, you may find yourself working on a temporary visa in Paris Disney, or Shanghai Disney or Universal Osaka, depending on where their needs are and what your talents are. So again, if you want to be a voice actor where it's recorded, That's a little more difficult because a lot of times that wants to be a union organized activity. But for stage, for the actors in theme parks, depending on what country it is, again, it may be a union thing, but I don't really follow the hiring of live actors that closely. But I'm sure you can find the information either on the Disney theme park site, careers at Disney maybe, or careers at Universal Studios, and they will probably list what the requirements are for each location and what they're looking for.
Yes, sir. Yes, and every actor should do the things to like dancing, acting, as in a very good way to do for the Universal Studios, to go for the Walt Disney and any kind of the cinematic world, which is always be like animated roles. Maybe is very furious. Maybe that is more actionable, that they are always dreaming that they are going for the Universal Studios and Walt Disney. Yeah.
Yeah, again,
So
the same rules apply though. Um, if you're a dancer or singer or musician, they may ask you, what have you, Disney University may ask, what have you done? Where have you performed? So again, going to a smaller theme park, going to doing a smaller theater, whatever, at least you can
yeah,
start to build your repertoire, your resume. They may ask you for video of what you've done.
yeah,
So you'll need to get all that together before you go to Disney or Universal, unless you're have an exceptional talent. You have to prove yourself before going to the big boys. Before you go into Universal or Disney, you really should need to think about proving yourself.
I appreciate like experience is the power. Like
Yeah,
without experience, you can't get the big companies like Walt Disney and Universal Studios. Like, not even the Walt Disney and Universal. Also, the big companies, they were always hiring them who is more experienced.
yep,
It's a
yep.
thing. Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir, so much for to clearing the doubts of the things. And and my and the last question is, how do you approach the projects? How do you approach projects with controversial or polarizing themes?
Uh, well, we try to avoid them. That's the easy answer. Um, it, it's theme park is not the place to discuss politics or religion. I worked on some projects in China recently, and we avoided religion. Um, when I did my project in India, we had a bunch of Indian cultural experts who guided us and not to,
Yeah,
make people uncomfortable. The goal is not to make people uncomfortable. And when you start to talk about religion and you start to talk about politics, people get uncomfortable. So we try to not do those kinds of things in the theme park world. We want it to be happy, and we want it to, the whole idea behind theme parks is to put the real world behind you, right? You step through the gates of a theme park, you don't want to think about the real world. And so we just try to avoid those kinds of topics. And if we have to tell a story like has a religious connotation, you try to be positive about it, and you try not to be, what we say, heavy-handed. You just try and
yeah,
you acknowledge it, be positive about it, but don't be too one-sided. Now, here in the United States, at
yeah,
Walt Disney World, we have an attraction called the Hall of Presidents, the All American Presidents, and it becomes somewhat controversial every 4 years when we install a new president because
yeah,
it becomes it can be very polarizing. So we try to just keep a positive a message about America or United States, and it doesn't want to be political about my side or your side. It's just about
yeah.
us as a country. So
Wow.
we just try to avoid it, but if you can't avoid it, be positive about it.
Yes, sir, I appreciate all with you about this. And would you something tell about your company? You are now the owner or chief creative officer at the Osterhout Creative. What is the theme of your Osterhout Creative? and
So
what your motivation towards it
yeah,
is.
so I consult now with companies or with people about creative leadership. If an interesting project, if there's an interesting project and need help on, like I can come in and give them some creative direction. I could be like a muse, just to help inspire them. And if it's really interesting, I they can hire me to help produce the project, executive produce the project, be a creative director. I'm open for all of that. So I'm really just I'm setting myself up as a consultant to help whatever company or person needs help. So that's kind of, and I'm really just exploring it now myself as well. It's kind of new, and I'm trying to find out where I can add my expertise in the best way. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of what I do now is a lot of speaking. So I will speak at certain conferences and different companies and speak about, again, creative leadership and how to motivate employees and how to build teams and how to structure teams and everything that goes into that bucket called creative leadership.
Also, that's nice. That's really be learnable things are there in the company of Osterhout Creative. Osterhout Creative is really making a big will make a big thing one day. It's a big. It's may the God gives you all the strong enthusiasm to do these things.
Thank you.
So
Thank
your
you.
experience is like a blessings. Yeah, you are doing a hard work a lot with this, but yeah, really I appreciate with your all the efforts or whatever I saw your at your portfolio. I'm just crazy and about wow, was Paul is having a like an enormous things, and we should learn from him. Okay. um, Thank you so much, Paul, for here to talk about all this thing and spending a lot of time, spending a lot of valuable time with you. And thank you so much. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you are here to meet and giving us a podcast with you. I'm so much lucky about it.
Oh, you're
So
welcome.
now,
So
yes, and mm,
so let me leave you
yeah,
with some final thoughts, okay?
yeah,
Theme parks are proof that engineered emotion can be joyful, uh,
yeah.
communal, lasting. And when we do it right, Uh, we're not just selling tickets, we're selling wonder. We're making memories. Okay. So
Okay.
I, I want I want you and all the listeners to this podcast to I have an exercise for you. Okay. For everybody that wants to be a designer, a writer, creative director, this works for everybody. Okay. Think of your favorite theme park memory.
Yeah.
Write it down. Your favorite theme park memory. Now, imagine you're the designer. Imagine you're the story writer. Imagine you're the creative director. How would you guarantee another guest can feel the same thing that you felt? How would you do it? It's a great exercise. You think about your greatest memory, and now you're the designer. How are you going to make the next guest feel that kind of same thing? All right?
Sure, Paul. I just remind that, yeah, I remember that all this point what you were saying. Um, it's a great. Thank you so much to you're having a great time with me. So so now I stopped to the podcast. So this time like 1 hour. I know that you're having a valuable time.
Yep.
So now I'm stopping to the podcast, and thank you so much for here.
It's
Thank
been
you.
my pleasure. My pleasure to meet you and to speak with you. And I hope the people that listen to the podcast will get something good out of it.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.